Chris is not with us today, so I'm gonna kick off the meeting as vice chair. So welcome, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we'll go around and do roll call next. So if everyone just wants to introduce themselves and their role on the commission. So we can start over here.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Dudley, and I'm an alternate member.
Colin Lawson, co-chair of the commission, and live in Newmarket downtown.
Andrea Fry, alternate member.
Lucas Brown, full member.
Zach Angelini, also vice co-chair with Colin.
Ellen Snyder, member.
Brian Ward, town council rep.
George Hinson, alternate member. So.
Emma Horton, school liaison. Ellen
Awesome. All right, so next agenda item, we will appoint alternate members as voting members if needed. Do we,
Yeah, so Chris is not, so let's see. It's kind of, yeah, Chris isn't here, so you can appoint Elizabeth. If you want. And then Jess is not here, but if she's coming, is she coming, Dana?
I thought she
so.
was going to.
So we could hold off on that.
Okay.
So you just have to appoint her.
Okay. Do I have to do the motion?
No, just
All
so
right.
you're appointed as.
Appointing Elizabeth.
Okay.
Yeah, bear with me. Great. And now, so Chris has stepped down as chair, and so we need to elect a new chair. And Al and I have chatted about it, and I would like to elect Ellen to be chair till April, when we might kind of rethink that after that point, but until April, that'd be great.
Question, is the chair decided temporarily to step out of that role or permanently?
Oh, you mean Chris?
Chris, yeah.
Yeah, so she has stepped down as a full member, has applied as an alternate member, and has applied to the Energy Environment Committee because she has a really keen interest in solid waste. She's on a statewide committee for that, so she'll be with George on that. You'll still be the rep from here, but so that was where she wanted to put some energy.
Great.
So she'll be an alternate, so it makes sense to have a new chair.
Great. Thank you for that clarity.
And we usually elect officers in April, so that's why I'm suggesting for them.
Perfect.
Do you need a second?
Okay, yeah, do we have a second?
Second. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll second.
You can-
I can't vote, so.
Yeah. Do we need,
You can have discussion, see if anybody else wants to be chair.
This is why Alan's second. Awesome, all right.
Then you
then-
vote, get the vote.
Oh, so we will now vote to approve.
Yes. All in favor?
All in favor,
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Zach. Also, just wanted to thank Chris for being chair since April, and appreciate all her efforts. And I think she'll be great on energy and environment. She's got a really great interest in that, so excited about her efforts there. Okay, so we're going to move on to public comment. Nobody from the public. You guys are going to be talking a little bit. Next up is approve the meeting minutes. To be honest, I didn't get a chance to read them. Did anybody else? Or we could postpone until next meeting, but if folks have read them and have any edits.
I was not here, so.
Yeah.
I didn't find anything glaring.
Great. Anybody else? All right, somebody can make a motion if you reviewed them and want to approve them.
I approved the minutes of last
Okay,
week.
make a motion. So, second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Still trying to get some slides going here. Okay, financial summary. That is me. Bring that up. Okay, so our conservation fund balance is $150,790. And the Richard Schanda Fund is $2,181.29. for a total of $152,971.29. We got interest into both of those accounts, so that's why it increased a little bit from last month. We also got 2 current use payments. That's when people take property out of current use, and we get a land use change tax. So if you remember that the Mitchells on Ball Hill Road did some subdivisions in advance of doing the land conservation, so they had a little bit of land use change tax to pay, so we got $1,000 from one of the properties and $2,930 from another property. So that we get 50% of the land use change tax, so that goes into our conservation fund. And let's see, December. I think
Ellen,
yes.
do we have any of that already earmarked for project spending?
So the total of conservation fund, we still have the Mitchell project, which got delayed for various reasons and hopes to close at least by June. And we are contributing around $13,000 plus the balance of the open space bond. So $100,000 total,
Yeah,
but $13,000 from the conservation fund.
right.
We've promised $5,000 to the Ash Swamp Road culvert project,
Yeah.
total project. And we've promised $15,480 to the Rosa project.
For what?
The Rosa Land Conservation Project, which hopefully will also close this year. So, so that's like 28, 30, 34, 32. So I said, what, 150? So we have about 120
Yeah.
if we
that's
take
great.
away those. Any other questions about the conservation fund? So then we have the general fund. Let's see, the balance is $4,575.85. And the only expenditure was for Ellen's time for taking the minutes. Any questions about general fund? Yes?
I just, in reading the minutes, so that unless we spend it, that goes back to the town, correct?
Yeah, it goes back into.
And when is the end of spend
June
date?
30th.
Thank you.
And this is the budget, so the budget is going through the process and it will be voted on in March. So we've asked for an increase, if you recall, so that we can hire some more consulting for some of our work. All right, all set with finances? Thank you. Okay, we're moving on. We're going to have a discussion at the request of Sam Kenny and Bart McDonough to talk about Schanda Park and the riverfront activities. And so I welcome Bart and or Sam to come forward.
Good evening. So tonight, Sam and I had that discussion with the commission about the future of Schanda Park and the stewardship of it. Basically, the genesis of this, why we're here today, is the town's at an inflection point in regards to Schanda Park and the downtown riverfront. There's a lot of planning and potential future investments in that area. There's a lot of synergy between town departments and needs, and we wanted to have discussion with the Conservation Commission because they have, you all have, as a board, express, do we really, does the commission really want to be the stewards right now? Is it their mission at this point? And how you all got to this point really started back in the late 70s, early 80s, where it was just a different time in Newmarket. There was a lot of efforts for redevelopment and kind of trying to figure out basically not necessarily the identity, but where does the town want to go? And part of that was the purchasing of a few parcels at Schanda Park and creating a boat launch as well. And that came together through partnership with NCDC, the state, and also donors and the town itself. So basically donations from residents, friends of Newmarket, and the town as well, putting together some financing. As time went on,
Bart, sorry, can I
yeah.
just interrupt? Sorry, I forgot to mention that there's a handout that everybody should have within the packet that Bart's sort of referring to, so you have it.
Yep, you have it right here. So,
Thanks. Sorry.
yep, not to you have it in front of you, so not to belabor it, but a lot of investment was made, and then around early 2000s, mid 2000s, the town council thought it'd be a great idea that the commission be the stewards of Schanda Park, because there was a lot of energy at that time to, do more conservation work there. So it was more aligned with their mission at the time, and it was renamed Schanda Park at that point. And then from that point on forward, the Conservation Commissions, in partnership with DPW, have been really maintaining that area. Fast forward to probably a couple of years ago, the Riverfront Advisory Committee was established, and their charge was, how to take the next step along the riverfront. Where does the riverfront go from here? Because it's such a great asset of the town. So it's kind of in the spirit of what was started in the late 80s, kind of continuing it forward. It's like, we need to come up, analyze the area, and make recommendations to town council on, what steps we need to make make further improvements to make it a more enjoyable place. So they've been doing great work, and at that time, one of their biggest efforts was to create a charrette, design charrette, and apply for one and host one, and that happened in '24. And a lot of the ideas were generated from that event. So after the charrette, and there was a couple probably meetings as well. The conservation commissions, their priorities have changed. The commission's more focused on their obligations with their easements and their conservation easements and not parks, but conservation areas. So kind of the focus was, do we really want to focus on these areas? We want to do more education things. We're not necessarily in tune with Schanda Park anymore. It's not like a Parks and Recs committee. It's a conservation commission. So there's discussions. Does the commission want to be the stewards anymore? Should it be someone else? And the Riverfront Advisory Committee kind of picked up that discussion as well, and concluded. I don't want to speak for Sam, so I'll let Sam speak for the committee. But maybe it's time to find different partners to take on the work. And relieve the commission, not necessarily to have them go away and not be part of discussion and planning and all the great work that we can do, but may not be the lead anymore. So that's what we want to have a discussion today is, is that the will of the commission? Do you all want to still be, the main entity that is in charge of Schanda Park, the maintenance of it, the use of it, because if anyone from the public wants to rent the space or use the space, has permission for approval. And so anyways, we want to kind of have that discussion, and I'll let Sam, if he wants to, if you want to add anything to what I just said, just to kind of set the table.
Good evening. So I'm Sam Kenny. I'm the chair of the Riverfront Advisory Committee. I also sat on this commission from 2018 to 2024 or something like that. So alumni member, I guess. But I guess to just kind of build on what Bart was saying, both through the charrette and the town's master planning process that's kind of wrapping up right now, there's a separate riverfront chapter directly for the master plan. I would kind of encourage you guys to potentially read that at some point, because it, kind of builds on the charrette too, but those are the two best documents, I guess, for elaborating a little bit more detail on what some of the investment in that area of the town is considering right now. But I think Bart kind of hit the nail on the head of that march towards a serious investment in the area of Schanda Park and the adjoining areas along the riverfront seems to be where the town is headed. There may be, multiple warrants this year that kind of get the ball rolling on that regard. The purchase of the Creighton Street property also kind of helped open quite a few doors down there. There may even be, not if this is still the plan, but specifically the town may pursue doing like a master plan of like legitimately just the parcels right around Schanda Park, Creighton Street, and behind the wastewater treatment plant. So there's a lot of, I guess, momentum towards doing a significant investment in the area. And reading the, original town council resolution that kind of established the Conservation Commission as effectively responsible for, the maintenance and the improvements of those areas. And then I think Ellen just kind of read out the fund balance of like, there hadn't been any money specifically steered into that fund since I think like 2020. There's not a lot physically there. So, at the committee level, we had started kind of asking the question of, well, is it time for the town to potentially take on the primary role of stewards of Schanda Park? And again, is that the will of the commission? And that's kind of, I think, what the discussion point is now the time to consider that? Is there value in a move like that? And, on top of just logistically, the town seems willing to take that role with kind of maintenance moving towards like DPW and more of like the schedule and management aspects of like the permit reviews that you guys do, or the request to use the space would be more like the rec department. So the town seems not only kind of willing to do that, but also like at that level, there's already some level of, I guess, receptivity to it. But, I also sat here, like, I can kind of understand the thing of, like, how do you not lose your voice in a conversation like that? And I think that's equally important, is that it's not seen as, like, giving something up, but potentially, like, helping facilitate the rather large investment I think the town is trying to make. So I'll kind of stop talking, but I think between what Bart said and what I'm saying, that's sort of the why of the ask, and would be kind of open to hear, what questions you guys have.
Sam, I've got a question.
Sure.
So can you refresh me, when was the advisory committee formed? And what was their general role starting out, and has it morphed into something more than what originally was thought about?
Yeah, good question. I'm going to give 2 dates for that, because I think the committee supposedly was initially thought of in like late 2019, and that first meeting was supposed to be in March of 2020, which I'll kind of remember how that went. So we didn't do anything. I think our first formal meeting was either late spring or like middle of 2021. So it's been a chunk of time now. I've kind of struggled with what our mission was initially, because the entire like charter of establishing the committee is like to comment on improvements of the riverfront, which is the most edict you could ask for. I don't know. We've always had a pretty open edict for what the committee is, and really as an advisory committee, we don't actually do anything. If we have anything we actually choose, it still gets at, the commission and ultimately the town council level if they actually want to proceed with anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I do not know what the current state of affairs is in terms of stormwater, but, so, as Conservation Commission, I think we would look to, important issues like that, I don't know if the stormwater still goes off the main street directly into the river there, which I feel is something that the town should have always done something about if they haven't. So from the perspective of pollution and protection of the resources of the river, I think the Conservation Commission should maybe be somewhat still involved in terms of examining or making that a priority, but maybe the town has other priorities, but that's my thought there.
Yeah, I guess to address that point, like, it's a great point. So there's kind of, I guess, 3 stormwater / like water quality items that have been in these discussions about master planning in the area. One is controlling just general runoff, both kind of down Water Street towards the
Yes,
low lines,
yes.
but also the parking area itself towards the open channel of moonlight. Another is, there's definitely a need to work on replacing the culvert at Moonlight Brook. One of the warrant articles that's going to get advanced is a stormwater planning article specifically for the town to start that process. And the third is, potentially a little bit more of a pie in the sky thing, but, if we can find funding to support it, has also been kind of conceptually, if we could establish like a living shoreline in the area, because it would be, I guess, like an urbanized one that might not really exist in other places in the state. So there's three, I guess, elements that are along the path of what you're considering that have been talked about in that overall master planning for the area.
And remains a priority.
Yes, yeah, no, absolutely. The Moonlight Brook thing is one of the major pieces that's sort of the entire, trying to figure out how to address that, because it seems to be a water quality issue.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. Recently, I heard that we bought that house that is on the end of the street there. I forget the name of the street.
Creighton Street.
What is it?
Creighton Street.
Yeah, Crazy Street. And what was the goal of that purchase? I mean, I can think of many reasons why it was a great move,
Yeah.
but what was the original purpose of it? And are we thinking about expanding some sort of connectivity to the trail system up on the hill?
I think Brian.
Yeah.
So, the reason town council purchased that land was, one, it was bought through the rec department, but we had to buy the house to buy the land it's on, and it's the land itself that we're interested in. If
Right.
we're currently assessing the house, see if it's, can be resold or needs to be done. But the idea is that this land, since it's adjacent, abutting the rest of Schanda Park, we could extend Schanda Park. So the house was just there. We just wanted the land, but we
Right.
had to take the house. That's the only reason it's there. This spot.
It's a premium location because effectively the town also had, easement and land rights for the Creighton Street pump station, the wastewater lift station right on the river, and then owns basically all the land that's, forested out by Pinder's Lane and behind the wastewater treatment plant. But there was about like 40 to 50 feet of frontage that was interrupted effectively by this parcel that sort of broke the public ownership of that area. And this kind of was an opportunity to potentially bridge that gap.
Yeah, it's a great move. I think that's awesome that that was passed and the owner was willing to sell.
Yeah.
So is part of the plan to fix that sort of granite embankment? The last time I heard that's kind of slipping down and needs some significant cash put into improving that. That's part of your, it would have to be, right?
I think it is part of the town's overall design. So we need to assess what has to happen with the Moonlight Brook culvert, but what complicates that is like that land bridge that kind of meets the two pieces of Schanda Park. There's actually a really critical piece of wastewater infrastructure that runs above the culverts in Moonlight Brook and under that land bridge. That's like the main gravity sewer feed that dumps into the Creighton Street pump station, and without that connection, what that pump station's doing, the entire collection system does not work as intended. So the answer is like yes, but we have to kind of figure out what we need to do with the critical pieces first, and then that's going to basically inform the options that are available to the town for all of the other ancillary items.
Okay, thank you. I served on the Conservation Commission probably a decade ago, and I do remember, like you said, the permits. A lot of people don't know that it has to come through the Conservation Commission and the use, and there was sometimes a conflict and different things like that. So, in my opinion, I think that us as a Conservation Commission not having to deal with that, it is more suitable to like a Parks and Rec type of thing, but, like Elizabeth was saying, I mean, obviously this wouldn't happen, but if the vision is let's put a casino or something down there, then, I wouldn't want to say, okay, we've washed our hands of this and now we got the green light to, pave the whole thing. So I like the idea of like the natural embankment that you guys were talking about. So I think some input should remain with the commission.
So I'm going to look at you now because that might be a primary part of discussion. So when I initially got, I guess, asked to be on the Riverfront Advisory Committee, I was still a seated member of the Conservation Commission. I've kind of remained, I guess, technically this commission's representative to that board or to that committee. So like that, I guess, as a point of discussion am I still suited to do that? Do you want me to show up like every 3 months to update you guys? I don't exactly know about if like they could appoint somebody else in that spot because there's not actually an open space on the committee, which I feel like kind of hamstrings that capability.
So you're still there as our rep?
I believe I am
slot
still
you're in.
technically the Conservation Commission rep as appointed to the Riverfront Advisory Committee.
It would be, it seems like it'd be more ideal because you're the chair of that committee. It's pretty, and there's a lot going on, that if we could have a separate rep, so that way we have a voice who's at our meeting every month. Just as a suggestion if that can happen.
Yeah, administratively.
Yeah, so it seems like in order to achieve that, we'd have to go to town council to expand the board, the committee.
But I would think if we're considering, however our discussion goes tonight or next month or whenever we decide, if we did decide we wanted to convey stewardship, that could be part of the town resolution, that we have a membership on the committee in addition to Sam being the chair.
Yeah, you already do. Also, the charge has.
No, I understand that, but the town council can add a person to the committee.
That's what
Yeah.
I came up to say is we would ask them to expand the membership of the Riverfront Advisory Committee.
So just to
More
get back to
voices.
what Andrea said, the acquisition in the 80s was partly funded by the Land and Water Conservation Fund, which is a federal grant program, and it specifically has to be for recreation. So there's no way the land can change from that purpose. Obviously, conservation and recreation all fits into that. And it was also, it's got the parking lot, it's got signage for people using the park, and so it really has a lot of stuff that it's not really our bailiwick to do. So if we have a way to, as you were saying, stay engaged in how it's stewarded, I think, to me, that makes a lot of sense to transfer it back to the town, which is where it was, originally for 20, 30 years.
Yeah, just at the Creighton Street purchase recently, since that was bought through the Recreation Revolving Fund, that is also a recreation area, so that's also just, so it's the same thing as the old stuff. We use recreation money, it has to be,
Right, so. Elizabeth?
I'm not sure if this is a typo or not, but your committee is called the Riverfront Advisory Committee, correct? So just in the paragraph under 2005, it might be a little confusing because it says the Lamprey River Advisory Committee, and I'm aware of that, but
That it's a separate body.
It is a
That's
separate
the
body.
regional, the original like Lamprey River.
They get
So
funding,
you're-
they get funding for the kiosk.
in 2005, okay.
Yeah, so
But you
LRAC
are
is
on
the-
I just want to clarify, you're the Riverfront Advisory
Yeah,
Committee.
clear as mud,
Okay.
right?
Okay, thank you. All right.
So I've been coming up with a lot of questions. If somebody else has a question, jump in.
Yeah, questions, thoughts, because it's something we don't have to vote tonight, or we could, wait or vote tonight or wait till next month, have some more conversation. But feel free to weigh in if it's our time.
I mean, I would echo the sentiments for maintaining some sort of representation while forfeiting the rights of this commission to the town. I think makes the most sense, especially from a timeliness standpoint. I think about end users looking to utilize the park's resources, which is ultimately what we want. The lag time between conservation commission meetings might hinder that. So agreed that it's more appropriate at the town.
Yeah, and if, like, I've been thinking about this stuff for so long. Like, if people want to, I guess, get an idea of the stuff that the committee, like the Riverfront Committee has been talking about, and that was discussed, like, at the charrette and all that, I think you can ask Bart for the charrette. I'm not sure it's online anymore. Okay, it is. All right, and then the Riverfront chapter of the master plan is up on the website too, right? It's still in draft mode. Okay. Those would be the two documents that I think would reference if you're wondering about like usages or projects or like planning thoughts in the area that kind of really spell out everything that's been talked about for the last couple of years. Because yeah, to your point, like it's a different story if we're talking about like, oh, let's build a hotel there. That's not the aim at all.
And this might be for Bart, but I've heard scuttlebutt about potential landowners at the mill building facility complaining about people walking down through their section where they have their chairs and the planters out and so on and so forth. And I never saw anything or confronted that or anything like that, but I know that there's some people that feel that's private property and therefore it's not a public right of way.
Yeah,
is that true?
Yep, as I understand right now, that is private property. Traditionally, it's been used, as public access, but there have been some instances where the public and the property owners, there's some altercations, and they decided to take some measures to help curb flow through there. So yeah, it's definitely a discussion we're still having with them. We're trying to work with the residents a bit more, see if we can kind of have some kind of understanding of how that area can be used. It is in a very public area, so there's easements, public easements in the Chinburg properties, which butts it, and then obviously an easement, those condos along the Riverwalk that has public access, and then Schanda Park. So. Again, working with them and see if we can find some kind of solution. But yes.
Where does the wharf fit into that, Brett?
The wharf right there?
Yeah, so the boat access, is that public?
Which boat access? The wharf next to Chinburg building?
Yeah.
That's private.
That is private?
That is private,
yeah. So the boat owners theoretically have a right to be
correct.
In and out of there?
The wharf's a separate entity from Rivermore.
Yeah.
So they're two different entities.
Okay.
I was going to say, if the commission decides to recommend the town council to relinquish your responsibility of Schanda Park, I would maybe consider a condition that you recommend the expansion of the Riverfront Advisory Committee as part of that to ensure representation in the commission.
Yeah, and I guess on that point, so our next meeting is actually like Monday, so it's only in a couple days, and I can bring up at that time that with the committee at whole that we would like to add a seat to it. Again, thinking on technical standpoint, it would probably be 2 to keep it odd, and they would probably both be at large, because again, I think technically I'm the commission rep, so I would need to take the at-large spot to free up the spot for them. So administrative item, but like if that's how we ultimately maintain that dialogue and folks who are actually on the commission right now can be involved and not have to rely on me, I'm all for it. So.
Can I just ask you a general question? In terms of other parks throughout the town, and forgive me since I'm new as an alternate member here, what is the nature of our, our involvement with other waterfront properties throughout the town of Newmarket? I mean, perhaps this shouldn't be any different from our relationship with those other waterfront properties.
So Schanda Park, we have no role in. That's owned by the church, and then the town DPW helps, and the rec department helps with that park. There are no others except Heron Point, Sangster, and of course, we do steward that one. We're not involved in any other riverfront. Well, we have, Sliding Rock Conservation and Recreation Area. So one of the things to think about, and you have that in your notebook, if you look at the spreadsheet of all the conservation properties and parks in town, and if you look at you can go online, look at the deeds. And so a deed will specifically say, or if it has a conservation easement on it from Elk River Fish and Game, so it's specifically for conservation purposes. So most of the other places you think about, Wigan Farm, Heron Point, Piscastic River, Loisel, even Sliding Rock, there's specific language that talks about conservation. Sliding Rock has conservation and recreation, or they were conserved with conservation funds. So those, this is my perspective, and actually it's sort of state statute, that those are our responsibility because they're specifically for conservation. Schanda Park was created as a waterfront park for the town. And so it really just went to the Conservation Commission because there were a group of people, as Bart said, that were really interested in, and there was a heritage festival at the time, and there was a lot going on in terms of, kind of education outreach on the riverfront. So we don't have, as Bart said, we don't have a Parks and Rec department, but these are sort of the places that would sort of fit into that concept, and I think that's kind of the conversation of DPW and recreation sort of partnering. I will say that with Schanda Park, DPW does do a lot of the maintenance, or they do the maintenance there. We do a little bit when we have time, but we aren't really doing anything there, not because we aren't. So, it does make sense that maybe somebody else should steward the property that has the time and the capacity.
Thank you.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question? Yeah.
Yes, thank you. That clarifies things in terms of what I think our role should be.
Yeah, one of the items that was, something that the commission dealt with when I was here was there had been an issue with some of the fencing along the Moonlight Brook channel. So it's people are we think you should fix it, and it's us as a volunteer committee. Am I supposed to go out there and put in the fence? Honestly, per the reading of the town council, yeah. But it's kind of the awkward situations like that, and it's kind of worked for a while, and DPW picks up some stuff, and there's been volunteer work days down there and all these things. But if the town's seriously considering serious investment in that area, it might just be better to remove any of the ambiguity. The town owns that, and then the Conservation Commission can retain the right to comment on the uses being proposed.
Other thoughts, questions? So it sounds like there's a consensus that perhaps we would move forward with this idea. My thought would be that we would draft a town, if you looked at the packet, there's a town resolution that was passed in 2005, and that we would draft a town resolution that would basically reverse that, the wording we'd work on, and in there we would state about adding a Conservation Commission member to the Riverfront Advisory Committee. And then we would vote on that in February, if people are ready to do it in February, what have you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Bart, I'm looking at you again. If, can we share the draft of the Riverfront chapter? Because that might be, I guess, a good distillation, if people aren't as familiar as you and I are. I think that makes sense, and can share some documents of that, because it spells out pretty good some of the stuff.
Yeah, and
that
those
we
can be
talk
whereas
about.
statements in this kind of resolutions.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll, like I said, when we meet on Monday, I'll kind of bring up the concept of expanding the committee to put the additional spots so that there is a place for somebody to come up.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to jeopardize your position on the committee. We want you to stay there, so however that would have to happen. Would be great. Any other concerns or anything people can think about? I thought of one thing, but I forgot what it was. Oh, so we do have that balance, and that money that's in that Schanda fund was specifically given by the Masonic Lodge for Schanda Park. So I think a whereas statement would be that those funds would go to DPW or whoever would take those funds back, but we can work on that language. Yeah. But it specifically has to be earmarked for that park, so.
And how much was that, Ellen?
We bought the 2 picnic tables, so it's like $2,100, I think, at this point. Any other questions? Thoughts?
I'm willing to come back at any time too. Like, this isn't the last time you see me. If you ever want to
Yeah,
coordinate or
probably a
whatever,
good idea to come
let me
in
know.
February. A couple of us actually won't be here. I don't know if we want to wait till March. Because a couple of us won't be here in February, so we might need to push it off to March, but that gives us time to draft the resolution. Yeah.
Could we earmark some of that money for something like maybe a rain garden or some conservation-minded project to transfer forward to the park? Or is that not possible?
I think the planning is still kind of a little bit higher level right now, so. it's
Okay, but
hard
in
to-
terms of maybe have that money contribute toward the natural resource development of the park, whatever that would be. It's just a thought we could.
Yeah, we can
push
yeah,
it
I mean,
forward.
It's hard to dictate specific uses of money like that, but
Okay.
I think we can put
It's-
the flavor of our
Yes.
desires
Okay.
in the statement. But good thought. Anything else on these guys? All right, thank you, Sam.
Yeah, no, thank you guys very much. Appreciate you
you.
considering it.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, have a good evening.
You too.
All right. Moving on, education and outreach. Chris had wanted to do some memo bios. I think she's going to email. She wanted to get a little blurb about each of us and put it in like e-news so people out there in the greater Newmarket know who we are. So you may get something from
See ya.
her on that. And I just wanted to mention I'm doing a snowshoe hike with the library, either January 20th or the 27th, depending on the snow.
Is that for your own promotion?
Yeah. Or spikes, depending on
Is that a birding snowshoe event?
everything, yeah. Whatever we see.
All right, we can sign up with the library.
Yeah.
Okay.
10 to noon usually or something like that. All right, back here. Anything else for education outreach? Anybody? All right, Turtlefest, I guess Jess isn't here, so. So we had a Turtlefest 2026 planning meeting on Tuesday. Very good, got a lot of progress. You should have a handout. Did people get that one too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did it come this way? Turtlefest, any extra Turtlefest things? You want me to start? You want to start?
I can start.
Yeah, cool, great.
Yeah, add in anything I messed up. Yeah, so we had an awesome meeting earlier this week on Turtlefest and came up with this proposed agenda here. So I guess just to walk through that, you can see there would be the 7:30 a.m. bird walk with Richard Lutz in a local conservation area. I guess that's still TBD, the location.
Yeah, it'll be somewhere nearby.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that go this past year? Because they did
Well,
a,
it was a total washout, but I think
'Cause-
we still
'cause
got
it
That was
was
great,
involved
yeah.
in
Drew-
rain.
Yeah, they went to Wigan Farm Conservation
Yeah.
Area and,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think we can only go out from total washout.
Yeah.
So that's great. So and then the actual the event at the high school would start at 9. People would come in and mingle and just peruse the exhibits. At 9:15, we'd have a welcome where we just welcome everyone, talk about Turtlefest, and maybe talk about kind of how we're evolving it to be not just about turtles, but all Newmarket wildlife and how it's all interconnected. And
did
then-
somebody raise a hand being MC?
Not
Do we
yet.
have-
I think,
Not yet.
Not yet.
landed that, yeah.
What, you raising your hand? Sounds good.
Then 9:30 to noon, there'd be children's activities. Those are going to be in like an adjacent room, so slightly different from last year where they were actually like in the room the presentations were happening. It was a little bit distracting. So they'll still be very close by, but in a separate room where there's not kind of a sound issue. And then in terms of kind of like our main speakers, that will also start at 9:30. So we'll have Lindsay Butler, our Newmarket Town Engineer, who spoke last year. She'll come back and speak again on the Ash Swamp Road turtle crossing and kind of give an overview of that and any updates there. And she'll also talk about the Habitats and Highways project. And then we built in some time this year, just about 20 minutes, 10:10 to 10:30, for kind of like a coffee break and for people to peruse the exhibits that are there, just to make sure that for those who come, it's worthwhile, and people can kind of check out everything going on with the exhibits. And then 10:30 to 11, we'll have Tailwinds, which brings in live birds and talks about raptor education and conservation. So I think that'll be a really exciting one and good way to engage.
They're the
folks.
birds. They're the birds. They're going to bring 3 different live birds,
Oh, that's so exciting.
including the turkey vulture, the Newmarket bird.
Yes. So I think that will be super fun. And then from 11 to 11:30, we're gonna have kind of 2 options for folks to choose from. It's kind of like breakout sessions. So one will be focused on rabbits, butterflies, and more with Heidi Holman from New Hampshire Fish and Game. And then another one for folks that want to kind of stick with the bird topic. I guess bird watching with Richard Lutz and kind of the informational talk there to pair with the birdwalk videos earlier in the day. And then that will be the end of kind of like the educational event at the high school. Then from 1, so it'll be kind of people can break for lunch, and then starting back at 1 to 2:30, folks are able to join the vernal pool field trip with Mark West. Location still TBD for that as well. And also starting at 1 and going till 4 will be the music event at the Stone Church. We unfortunately can't get Sneaky Miles, the band that performed last year, because they're already booked, I believe, but we are working with them to help kind of find another band or bands to take their place. So if anyone has any thoughts or ideas there, definitely let us know. We all agreed that was like a really fun kind of celebration of the event and day at the end, so we definitely want to make that happen. But Stone Church has been great. We have that spot kind of locked down. We just need to find the bands. So yeah, that is the proposed agenda. Any kind of thoughts or comments on that?
I love this. And I'm wondering if you guys, since it's at the junior high school, if you've engaged with any, like there's a net zero conservation group over there.
Yeah, Emma's been
Yeah,
our
are you
liaison.
guys a
so-
part of this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
So
good.
last year we had an exhibit, and I think we're planning on doing that again. We
Yeah,
haven't
so-
talked too much
Yeah.
about it. But yeah, and I'll have volunteers again and just help set up and everything like that. But yeah.
Yeah, the students are fabulous with that type of stuff, that's all.
And if you remember last year, of course, New Hampshire Turtle Rescue was a big presenter, and they also did a program at the library, which was really successful because they actually can bring the live turtles there. They can't just bring them to the big auditorium. So we decided, just to, have different speakers this year, but they're going to be back hopefully at the library with that program again, which the library said was really popular. So that's cool. So,
I just had two quick things, but one, what do you think about the idea of having a specific fundraising goal there for something to protect turtles or
yeah,
other
so
wildlife?
we're gonna get to that on the next, first we gotta do the t-shirts, and then we're gonna get to the budget and that.
And
We can
ask
hold
people
that.
to contribute to it. Okay.
Hold your thought on that, because it
Okay.
sounds like you got some ideas, so that's
Well,
good.
And then, in terms of the exhibits, we were considering, or it came up, something with recycling, and you're in solid waste, so I didn't know whether the commission thought it was worthwhile having maybe an exhibit about recycling, maybe even spearheaded by the town. And I just did a very preliminary look into New Hampshire Recycles offers publication of printed material that's customized to each town. And they could, some kind of postcard or flyer or something that people could hold on to that could have the logo or something. It's just something to think about, but that's really up in your network. But I think it's always good to inform people about the latest trends in recycling or what the town is doing or what options are. I don't know whether that might be one of the exhibits or not. But just
Yeah, that's a great point. And solid waste is still very far in line with the Energy Environment Committee, and I know that there are some kind of developments happening in the solid waste space. I know that Lindsay at our last meeting, but they spoke on Next Trip, which is like a plastic bag recycling program. So there's some pretty like, new and interesting things. And the committee is also engaged with Casella, so we do different material from Casella that would be kind of more specific to our recycling scenario here in Newmarket. So I'll also bring it back to the committee if it's something that they're behind. So.
That might be great, because it's also, I think if it's of interest to young children and students, recycling always, I think, in littering, and in my own childhood, I remember kids were always involved with that.
Yeah.
You know,
I think solid waste is a good foray into, conservation and environmentalism. It's such an invisible issue, so I think it would be a great opportunity to couple solid waste and recycling into this in some capacity.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can find an opportunity. And now with Chris having her in the Energy and Environment Committee, I'm sure there'll be a little bit more moxie in there too. So
if you want my help with something like that, just ask me.
Be careful what you wish for. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like you're on. So, I mean, we could have a Conservation Commission table and an Environment Energy Committee right next to it, so
Right.
it's, it's all
continuity.
together. So
Yeah,
continuity,
it's a great
so sounds good.
One comment that I have, just going through the items on the agenda, is that I'm almost like thinking that Turtlefest name is kind of narrow, considering the
Yeah.
topics that we are presenting here. So maybe next year we could come up with like a wildlife fest or something like that.
We went through, we did discuss this back, and it's a good thought, because we did talk about whether we should, and then some people were like, no, you got to stick with the Turtlefest name because it's branded. So we'll see how this year goes, maybe, and but be thinking about because we all brainstormed various things, but then we came back to the turtle thing. But great.
So what
We
is
do
the
have a
date?
slogan that brought us it. So it's Turtlefest, a celebration of wildlife.
we have to put that. You have to put that on here.
Yeah, that needs to be, and we'll open with that. So it's clear.
I love that.
I don't know, I think it involves some dancing in a turtle costume by somebody.
No, that's in 5 years, the tortoise and the hare.
I apologize.
Oh my God. We got big plans in 5 years. Sorry, Andrea, you had something.
I forgot. I was distracted with the logo.
Yep. Okay, so should we move on to T-shirts? One of the most important things, which is, let's actually do the budget next, and then we can come to the T-shirts. That's the next page, I think. You want me to go through the budget, or? Okay, go for it.
So for the budget, we had these two sources of income. So the T-shirt sales, which I think were a wild success, I think you could say. We had great design and really nice T-shirts that we sold a good amount of, and so I think this is 3,500 kind of like projected based on what we sold last year.
Yeah.
So hoping to sell even more this year as it kind of grows. And then the other source of income was local businesses and community sponsors. So I think mainly Alan did an amazing job reaching out to local businesses that were happy to give. I think it was like 200 to 400 and contribute overall. So that added, or expected to add up to 5,350, which I think probably like a little more than what we earned last year. So then in terms of expenses, that's just like some food and other supplies. We have like some coffee and snacks. The T-shirt design, so working with John Herman again, who did the really amazing design last year. He'll do it again. That's 300. And then the two speakers have a speaking fee, which is there. And then obviously the actual purchase of the T-shirts, that's that cost there. So you can see, the total expenses add up to about 2,500. And then we are expecting to, in total, hopefully make over like 2,700, and that's the potential contributions we have listed there. So last year we gave, I think, the majority to New Hampshire Turtle Rescue, because they were our main speakers, and that was great. So just diversifying it a little bit this year, and with a focus on the Astron Road Turtle Crossing Project, because that's both turtles and it's Newmarket specific, so we thought that would be a great way to direct the funds. And is this doesn't include the Stone Church funding, or?
No, so last year the way the Stone, so we actually gave like 600 and some to New Hampshire Turtle Rescue, because it was the balance of, because we had Patrick Fitzgibbons, who's the singer for Sneaky Miles, works for Fish and Game, so he completely organized the music at the Stone Church and handled all the funding. And so he had to pay the Stone Church a little bit, but then the bands played for free. And so the whole balance of that was like $1,300 or so, I think. And they donated that to New Hampshire Total Rescue. So we weren't really involved in that piece of it. And so we just gave the balance because we decided it would be nice if they got $2,000. So Stone Church gave, or the musicians, I guess, gave $1,300, or whoever gave it. And we gave 600 and some. So we haven't quite figured out that piece yet in terms of how, because they're not quite as involved as Zach said, so we haven't quite figured out the arrangement with Stone Church yet, but we're hoping it'll be, they can, you know, yeah, we still have to have that conversation.
So yeah, any thoughts on the budget?
How did the, yeah, it's mainly, what do you think about the donation, the potential proceed donations?
Is that happening anyway, irrespective of whether or not we contribute money? Is the turtle crossing allotted?
So if you remember when I read the finances, we have allocated $5,000 seed money to the project, but we haven't given that money yet. And so Lindsay Butler, who's our town engineer, who's coordinating the project for the town, suggested that, because we will raise more money through this than these other two donations, and so maybe we say that's part of our $5,000 donation, because we essentially, you know, we're drawing down our conservation funds, right? So we're trying to maintain stability of our funds over time, and so this is a way for us to, you know, pass through some money through our collective Turtlefest.
We asked specifically that for the, I just thought it'd be, I think people would be willing
Right, so
to
we
donate,
specifically would
like,
advertise.
ask
Exactly.
and drop $1 in for
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah. So this is like, this is the base, what we think we'll raise. I mean, we may raise more than this. I don't think we'll raise less, I think is the idea here. So the more we have, the more we can pass off to that project. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So with like the potential estimates here, as those like said dollar amounts we'll target, so like
Yeah.
275 is the goal for the camp scholarship, and 500 for turtle rescue, and then cash after that to
Yeah,
turtle crossing project.
yeah, I think that was sort of the idea, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
What
And
are they doing on Ash Swamp Road? I like saw the painting, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a really big project to raise the road a little bit and
okay.
create a new underpass where turtles will be able to go through. It's a huge project that's got funding through Fish and Game, federal money.
Okay.
There's like 4 projects in New Hampshire that are all doing it at the same time, and ours is one of them. And Lindsay's doing an amazing job coordinating it and getting funding. And she's already done a whole planning effort with a grant from the Nature Conservancy. And Wright Pierce is the engineering firm that's going to be doing the work.
Okay.
So apparently it's a go, and they'll be starting the work.
What is the date when the turtle signs get flapped down? Are they
Uh,
still hinged like that?
DPW, some of them are, some of them aren't. Some of them they actually go put up. It's sometime in April.
Okay.
DPW does.
Okay, I didn't know if it coordinated with the state.
DPW does that for us, for the
Ellen,
town.
what, may I ask, just what are
Yeah.
other animals that are projected to benefit from this crossing?
So it'll restore a little bit of stream flow for any fish or any other aquatic organisms in there, and restore a natural stream bed, I think is the design. I haven't quite recalled the entire design, but yeah. A lot of turtles get smashed on the road right there.
Yeah,
Pretty sad.
okay, but other, I mean, any, like
Yeah, so-
bobcats or other?
It's not going to be as big as.
Anything big enough that can, anything that can fit through the hole
Yeah.
and wants to go through it can, yeah.
It's not like the Lubberneck Creek, because the elevation there is really low, so it's actually kind of a tricky design. Because usually if you have a really big elevation, you can put a big culvert or a big open bottom box culvert so the bobcat can go through. Bobcat aren't going to go through this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Turtle specific.
pretty turtle specific, but turtle and fish. And little-
Turtle size or
Wonderful
smaller.
thing.
Yes, exactly.
Wonderful
So-
thing. So I'm just asking that because it might be nice to include that if we are asking for donations, to list ancillary animals that will also benefit.
Well, Lindsay will be giving the talk, so we can have her do that. Yeah.
And just sharing how, like, encouraging people to buy a shirt by saying, like, all shirt purchases will
Yeah.
benefit this project.
Yeah,
That's
that
good.
would be.
Good idea. Yeah. And the last year, CELT had asked us if we would give a donation of the camp scholarship. It's specifically for a Newmarket child to go to their camp, which is very outdoorsy and totally into nature, and they're very appreciative. And so we thought, actually, that's kind of a good connection to us, and they're work there because we partner with them on land conservation, so seems like a good fit. Cool. All right, on to the t-shirts.
Yeah, so this is just detailing out the 2025 order, like what we ordered and what actually was sold. So we took a look at this the other day and just made some projections of what we want to order based on what we saw last year, and just thinking about kind of what we sold out of and what people were asking more of. And so we went through and kind of upped the numbers based on that, the hopes that we will sell even more shirts this year. Like I said, we're going with the same shirts. I think they're organic cotton, which kind of goes with the mission of Turtlefest, and they're also just really quality shirts that seem to hold up. And we're really visioning these shirts as collector's items because they have such awesome designs and they'll be unique each year. So want to stick with a good quality shirt. But yeah, you can see there kind of what we're projecting and what the cost would be. But the main decision that really needs to still be made is the color of the shirt. And so we have this whole booklet here with all the different colors, which is a bit overwhelming. But we chatted a little bit about it, and I think a lighter color, just so that the design pops, is something that would be good. And then we were thinking it was green last year, so maybe like a light blue this year, something that could look good if people are wearing like the old shirt or the new shirt could look good together. So I don't know if people have super strong opinions and want to give input, or if they're
Yeah,
happy
we're supposed to
let
let people pick the blue that they like.
I will leave this building who
I'm
picked
actually
fuchsia.
Yeah, but you can
Do a
actually,
little
there's like
mod,
all
yeah.
blues, like
Yeah.
just write down what you like, your favorite blue is. I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
yeah.
I don't know if, you know, trying to reach as many things at once here, but
Any light blue.
as we all crisscross the town at night,
Here is a little L.
I mean, what about adding some kind of reflective something for safety? Like maybe the turtle itself could be, I don't know, just for kids and everything, because it makes such a difference for visibility for children on the streets and crossing. Just a thought, maybe we could have one, maybe that's just getting too complicated for just throwing it out there, maybe it's a bad idea.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. We did talk about like some other products. Yeah, like just some like lower kind of cost options that people could have. So we talked about a bandana and stickers. And so I think Chris has done some initial research into those, but we can have her ask. I'm not sure if this company like does that.
Just the reflective stripe on it, on the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, on the
Yeah, I don't know
itself.
if they'll do that. You'd have to ask to see if
It's
they do that.
just a safety thing.
Yeah. All right, pick your blue. Yeah, so she did I think it's a different company that does the bandana, I'm not sure, but she said they would be $5 each. So the t-shirt's price is not changing, which is nice. So if you look at your sheet, the prices are there. Most of them are $7.50 and we sell them for $20, so we make it's a nice profit. And the biggest ones are $10.50, so we're still making almost $10. Most of the ones we sell are the $7.50s.
We didn't have any left over from last year.
Yeah, we
right?
do. We have some, so there's 26, if you look at the unsold column,
Yeah.
and we're thinking those will be collector's items, so we'll sell them for half price.
For more.
For more. If you like green, give as much as you want.
I mean, why not up the quantities on the adult small and medium a little bit? So, I'm not sure when they sold out, you know, I wasn't.
So the numbers are below that.
Yeah,
we applied. So
yeah,
we did
but
up
I
the-
mean,
we did up the
maybe
numbers.
like 25 adult small and 4, I don't know, it just seems to me that those are popular sizes.
I was when we were having a discussion thinking maybe we go up on small a little bit
Sure.
more.
Use smart as well.
So we're
Lots
picking a
of
blue,
choices.
all
Yeah,
right.
that doesn't surprise
Are we voting on a shade of blue?
Yeah, you gotta pick your blue.
Yeah, we should up.
I think like
not sold out.
Ellen's shirt there.
We did
I just
say-
imagine like
Do 20,
slot-
maybe
slot
20.
corner.
Yeah.
Ellen shirt color, I vote for Ellen shirt.
Ooh, my favorite.
Yeah.
You can
I-
match
I-
it
yeah,
to,
these look
that's a
good.
good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think,
Yeah, like, what was
which I think was one of the ones last year.
Whatever one on that.
Put it right up there.
All right.
I agree.
I feel like, is it that one?
Oh,
Carolina.
it totally is. Carolina Blue Mist.
Carolina Blue Mist, love it.
What do you think?
Oh, Blue
No,
Mist.
no, no.
All right, Blue Mist.
What's going on?
As opposed to, I don't know, Georgia Blue Mist.
Very important, yes.
I think Elsinore Blue works.
All right, I'll have to just take this to the place.
Yeah,
and say,
color
"Yeah,
match."
they do that, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Perfect.
we can do that. All right.
Sweet. Awesome.
What do you think about the idea of a bandana?
I think,
It's great for summer to
You like it?
yeah, I think it's good, and I also feel like people might like something for like your dog or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this,
Yeah, I think a bandana would be very
I know
popular.
kids love
Also-
stickers. They
Yeah.
have those water bottles.
Yeah.
You know, they got the stack leg seats, and
Uh,
they put a sticker on, I don't know, but it is plastic, and so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
button, button.
The merch people will be in charge of all that. All right. Good. All right, so maybe up some of the numbers, you wanted to up the adult large, is that what people said? Adult small.
Adult small and youth large.
Okay,
That sounds good.
okay. Maybe 10 on one.
We also
and-
didn't up youth small. That's,
I think they're really small, but the youth medium didn't sell out, and so we could do 15 on the youth small.
Also, I'd imagine if you're a
Yeah.
small, it's either you small, you must be medium.
Yeah,
you
good.
grow into it.
true.
Yeah, yeah. And they do shrink a little bit, so if you ended up getting a bigger one, it'll shrink down.
Not terribly, but
Yeah, a little
And
bit.
what size are you wearing, you know?
this is a medium.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a medium. Okay, so maybe the adult small and the adult youth large, a little bit more? Okay, we can update that, Chris. So, let's see, hold on. We should approve, because I don't know when these have to be purchased, so it would be good if we could approve the purchase of the T-shirts, which, let me just do a rough calculation here. Let's see, no towns, 213. Let's say, just say 220 times 8. So 1760, so it might be a little more. We could say maybe up to $1,800. Or we could say up to $2,000, and then it won't be that much, right? That usually is better, because then you don't have to come back. So, which would come out of the conservation fund, and then get reimbursed as we sold them. So, does that make sense? Up to $2,000?
Yep.
Okay.
Motion to agree.
Yes. Motion, second? All right, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Awesome, all right, so we'll update those numbers and get that to Chris. She's still the contact for the T-shirt. And say that there was interest in the bandana too, however
Yeah.
that plays out. Cool. Okay, anything else on Turtlefest coming together? We basically have everybody lined up except for the music at the Stone Church. So it's been pretty
What are we doing with the food offering? Has that been decided to go with that again or not go with that?
We're not doing the restaurant thing. That didn't
Yeah.
quite pan out.
Yeah.
But we might. Yeah. I think we just didn't. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Limited amount of time,
Yeah.
especially the event at Stone Church afterwards. So it'd just be not much time to go eat and then go around different places. So we figured we forego that this year. And,
Did
try-
we ever
try to-
follow up with the restauranteurs to see
Yeah. I don't think there was much
if people?
activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think it was a combination of a bad day too. Like
Yeah, it was raining and so forth.
So, you said snacks will be for sale, or?
No, we bought some. We just bought coffee and small. And the coffee was donated by Crack Skulls last year, and we could probably get donations. We just didn't. We planned it kind of late, so we might go get donations from somebody for thanks. But in future, we might have a tortoise and a hare crawl, like a Santa crawl in the restaurant. Who's ever going to plan that? But it's a good idea. That sounds really good. Okay, anything else on Turtlefest?
Looks great.
Cool. All right. Okay, moving on to land stewardship projects. So you recall last month we talked about the Dearborn property. You can see my lovely map that's not showing. So this is a property that the town, the Conservation Commission stewards, and Fish and Game holds an easement. And there are a couple of the boundaries are a little, they're not marked well with boundary monuments. And so Scott Boudreau did some of the original survey for the Conservation Commission. He's in town. He was also a donor to the Turtlefest. But he provided a quote of $3,100 to do this partial boundary survey, which will be essentially 2 boundaries and put in some monuments and also stakes. And then I'm going to go back out and do a current conditions map, which will fully document where these are. Because what happens over time is we lose track of where these things are without proper documentation. So I'd like to have him go ahead with that. Unfortunately, with boundary surveys, we have to fund those ourselves. No one will give you a grant for boundary surveys. It's just something they think towns should do. So hopefully this will be the last one for this property. So but I'm happy to discuss it. But if we could entertain a motion, that would be awesome.
I'll make a motion
Okay.
that we move forward with it. Absolutely.
Second?
I'll second that.
Second, okay. Any discussion? I did have Jeff review the proposal as a surveyor, so he thought it looked fine. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, great. All right, so we got that, and we did the t-shirts for 2,000, make a note. Great, okay, so anything else on land stewardship? Did anybody want to bring up anything? Do you have had a chance to go out to Heron Point lately to see about the leaves and all that kind of stuff? Or it's
Yeah,
wintertime,
I
so guess
spent
it's fine.
2 days cleaning leaves up and getting them off the
Yeah.
wooden decking and stuff,
Mhm.
and it looked good. But, I walked it the other day, and it's icy, but
Yeah.
it's still usable.
Mm-hmm.
It's still difficult. We got to figure out a way
Yeah.
not to go through the trailer park.
Yeah, I know, it's hard to,
For-
you don't access.
I think
it.
that just takes so much traffic
Yeah.
off of
Yeah, I agree.
that. So we're working on that.
Mhm.
We have a couple ideas. There are some parcels of land that if we can get the landowner to give us permission, we could go in to the site just above the Bay Road parking lot there. So that would be really nice if we can
Mhm.
work that out, but it's going to take a little time to do it.
Yeah. All right, any other stewardship questions, things? All right, land protection, no real updates. We will have the warrant article in March for the Rosa property, $145,000, and that's the last big chunk besides another small grant, which I think will be pretty easy to get. The main thing with the vote in March is that a lot of people don't vote in all these off-year town elections, so the main thing is just to get people out to vote, and so we'll do a campaign, including all of us and our friends and family to who live in Newmarket to vote, because that's how you can get these passed. And there's going to be a lot of stuff, I think, apparently on the warrant this year, so there'll be a lot of stuff to pay attention to. And I think we're going to do a little video or a fact sheet or something. And the Mitchell project is still just going through the process, but hopefully by June that one will be done, which is an amazing project. Any questions on land protection? Okay, town council, finally, Brian. Sorry.
Honestly, this is our first meeting of the year. It's pretty, biggest thing was the resignation of Chris Claxton, a full-time member, appointment as a alternate member of the Conservation Commission, and then an appointment as to the Energy and Environment Committee. Everything else was just resolutions the first reading, except we are having to amend the town budget due to a issue with the Department of Revenue. That's just, yeah. Do you?
Basically, what happened was when we have a charter commission, they submitted the recommendation, and the state has to review it. There's different entities that make that review. Long and short is, when Newmarket last updated its charter, the state statute allowed for capital reserve funds to be funded through like the operation budget. State law changed in 2017. We didn't update our laws, and they only caught it because we submitted to them, proposed changes. So we're not being penalized. They're saying that if you were to move forward as you are right now, we may not accept that. So there's kind of some ambiguity of the statute itself, and they are interpreted as, so that's why the capital reserve fund requests are going through a warrant article.
Thanks, Bart. Thanks. Anything else for you, Brian?
Nope. Like I said, light meeting.
Anything else for Brian? Questions? Thank you, Brian. Planning board, planning department, Bart, I think you're up because Jeff couldn't be here tonight.
Thank you.
Last meeting was very light. Major topic of discussion was, well, first they reviewed what chapter was it? I don't remember. Might have been economic development. A draft chapter of the master plan. And afterwards, we had a discussion on establishing a long-range planning committee. So the idea was for this committee to, I think we talked about this last meeting, but really to one, make sure that the master plan is being followed, and two, kind of have high-level discussions on planning in general. So that has a lot of different elements. Land use, natural resources and whatnot. So it's kind of a way for the public interfacing to one, have these discussions, and then also track objectives in our current master plan. So what they decided is what they're going to think about, either it's going to be a section in the planning board, or they're going to make a recommendation to the council before. So we're going to decide that next week, hopefully, and see what planning board. And then, so that's it.
Any questions for Bart? Thanks, Bart. Energy environment, George.
Yeah, so energy and environment did not meet in December, but we did meet in November. The committee's very excited to welcome Chris Blackstone as a member of that committee. And I think the only thing of relevance to this commission is going to be the talk, like I mentioned before, around recycling. So a lot of work's been done with both the school as well as at the transfer station, and there's discussion about recycling for plastic films, such as plastic bags, and what our options are there. And I know that Lindsay Butler's been doing a lot of work on that front. So, but other than that, no further update from energy and environment.
Any questions for George? All right, looking forward to that, all that recycling stuff.
Oh, likewise.
All right, Emma, school liaison.
Yeah, not much to report. Winter's kind of a hard time for us to do stuff. We are planning a bottle cap drive to do a mural with. So we're going to have students donate empty bottles and stuff like that, so that it's not wasted, because we have a hard time recycling at the school. Just finding an alternative route, and then we're going to use that as an art piece, I guess, to hang up in the hallway and stuff like that, just as a way to kind of reuse materials. Planning for Earth Day, and kind of combining it with the Spirit Week, hopefully with our student council, and then possibly doing a combined work of like walk to school day on Earth Day and stuff like that, just to kind of drive momentum for that. And then another thing that we've been doing the last 2 winters is we have seeds that we grow within the school. So we have this whole shelf with lights and like heating pads to kind of make a seed sanctuary. And so we're trying to figure out what we want to do with the seeds at the end of the year. We've just had troubleshooting that, so we're just trying to figure out what we're going to do in the spring.
There's a lot going on. Cool. Any questions for Emma?
Wait, you're talking about you're starting seedlings and what to do with the seedlings at the end of the year?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you could sell them at Turtlefest.
Yeah, so the thing that we've kind of run into is figuring out what seeds grow best, and we've only had kind of 2 years. So like last year we had a couple vegetables. We had lettuce. We had basil grew really well. We had a couple flowers and stuff like that, and we planted them in egg cartons that members brought in from our club, and we grew them for like 3 months, and it just kind of, we would ideally like to sell them or give them away somehow or donate them to different communities and stuff like that, but we're just wanting to make sure that they actually last and can actually turn into something more. I know my basil plant that I brought home unfortunately got eaten, but it did grow, so just trying to figure out that balance and figuring out where everything goes.
It got eaten by somebody other than humans, or what?
Yeah.
Rabbits.
Italian rabbits.
Great. Any questions for Emma? Or? Great. Thank you, Emma. All right, moving along. Any other business or updates that people want to convey or bring up? Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you. Hello. Sorry.
You,
It makes me a better kids at home. And
Yeah.
sometimes
So, do you want to just say, because you're the newest person, you haven't been to a meeting yet, I think. Do you want to just say 2 sentences about yourself?
I was on the Conservation Commission, oh my God, like a decade ago for a term and a half or a term and 3/4, something like that. I live in town. I've lived in town close to 17 years. I teach at the junior high, 7th grade science. My background is environmental conservation of marine invertebrates, and I'm glad to be here.
Glad you're here. That's awesome. All right, any other updates and interesting sightings? Animal sightings, wildlife sightings? Winter deer and rabbits.
Not that interesting.
Turkeys, yeah. There's, at the end of Ball Hill Road, if there's a family, a daily farm, it's conserved, but I don't know if it's him or somebody else, but every year they put deer carcasses way in the back. And I think they're roadkills, so they can get them from, I assume that's what they are. And the rail trail, if you ever go on the rail trail, it parallels, so if you bring your binoculars. Anyway, often there are bald eagles and ravens and sometimes turkey vultures, depending on the weather. So we saw a bald eagle today. Over there.
Feeding on the deer carcass.
They come in and feed on the deer carcass. Yeah, that's why they put them out there, sometimes to maybe photograph or just to provide some food, winter food. Yeah.
So I saw something interesting today, and I'm not sure what it is.
Huh?
But so I went for a walk, and so I was walking in the woods, and then suddenly I looked in the ground, and it looked like there were like tiny little specks of, thought it was dust. And I looked closer, and there were like these sort of like almost like fleas jumping.
Yeah, springtails.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Springtails.
Yeah,
okay.
they're big clouds of black. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
tiny little insects. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I think they're always there. It's just when the snow's out,
They're
you can
more
see
visible.
them. Yeah. I think they're
Oh.
always, there's like millions of them.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, and
just-
they have this little thing. They're springtails, so they spring. That's how they move.
So
But they move
do
like that far.
Do they live up on the trees and they fall down?
Yeah.
or
No, they're in the
they-
ground. I think the leaf litter and so forth. Yeah. I don't know. You can sometimes see like big gobs of them. So I don't know if we know anything why they're doing that. Like why are they?
Yeah.
What do they do?
There were literally millions.
Yeah.
of them.
No, they're probably
On
trillions.
the snow.
On the snow.
Yeah, they look like black pepper or something.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. That's pretty cool.
They're a bigger fauna, but I was on a morning walk a few days ago, and I did see a big plump red fox looking very
Oh,
healthy. So if
nice.
you have cats
Very
or dogs,
wonderful.
just beware.
Where was that? Where?
Over on Lady Slipper.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
On which river?
Lady Slipper, right off of.
Oh, Lady
Yeah.
Slipper.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Close to me,
nice.
so it's a nice little walk.
It's nice to see them healthy because I think a lot of the predators are down. Sometimes they get mange, particularly
Mhm.
fox. So it's nice when you see
Oh,
that
yeah.
difference.
Beautiful.
It's great.
So.
Nice. Were you going to say something?
No.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Thank you.